The vastness of space was suddenly shattered by a loud, eerie hum that resonated through every corner of the galaxy. It began as a faint pulse, almost unnoticeable, but then it grew louder, more powerful. Earth's sky, which had always been a symbol of peace and stability, was violently ripped open by an energy signal. The cities below were silent as the energy began to spread, sending waves of power across the atmosphere, causing an unnatural stillness that felt as though time itself had frozen. Then, without warning, a massive broadcast was transmitted across every communication channel in the galaxy. It wasn't just a message, it was an order. Earth was now off-limits to all alien races. The cold, unyielding voice of the alien king resonated through the speakers, shaking the very air around every listener. His words were clear, chilling, and final. No alien race is to approach Earth. Anyone who does will face extinction. The words lingered in the air like a threat, unsettling everyone who heard them. Aliens across the galaxy had always known about Earth, but its existence had been largely ignored. Humanity was seen as a lesser species, unworthy of attention or concern. But now, everything had changed. The alien king's declaration was nothing short of a galactic ultimatum. On Earth, the news went unnoticed by most people at first. The world was consumed with its daily struggles, unaware that something far greater, something dangerous, was taking place. But Captain Alex Bonner, an elite soldier recently returned from a covert mission, felt the weight of the announcement deep in his bones. He was sitting in a dimly lit room at a military base when the broadcast came through. It was only meant to be a routine check-in after his mission, but when the voice of the alien king echoed in the background, Bonner's heart skipped a beat. He turned up the volume on the screen, his brow furrowing in confusion. The alien king, an ancient and feared ruler whose power stretched across the galaxy, was known for his unyielding laws and control over thousands of worlds. But Earth had never been of interest to him. Why now? Why Earth? What had changed? Bonner had just returned from a mission where he and his team had investigated strange occurrences near the Earth's atmosphere, but they had found nothing. The planet was supposed to be safe, isolated. So why was this declaration happening? His instincts told him something was wrong. Something far bigger was coming. As Bonner watched the broadcast, something strange began to happen. The room seemed to tremble slightly at first, a low rumble that seemed to come from deep within the ground. He stood up, feeling the vibrations intensify. His fingers tightened around the edges of the table. The lights above flickered momentarily, casting long shadows across the room. It wasn't just the broadcast. Something was out there. Something was moving. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, sending Bonner stumbling across the room. The building groaned and rattled as if something enormous was passing through the air. His heart raced. He had felt this kind of tremor before, only in combat situations. He rushed to the window, looking out toward the horizon. And that's when he saw it. Above Earth, cloaked in the darkness of space, there were ships, huge, terrifying ships, unlike anything he had ever seen. They hovered silently, completely invisible to the naked eye, their energy signatures undetectable by conventional military sensors. They were waiting, watching. The air around Earth was heavy with tension, as if the planet itself could sense the danger lurking just beyond its reach. Bonner's mind raced as the reality of the situation began to sink in. Alien ships, cloaked and invisible, were now in orbit above Earth. The broadcast, the strange energy wave, it all pointed to one undeniable fact. Earth was under threat. But why? Why was the alien king, who had kept his distance from Earth for so long, now taking such drastic action? What did he know that humanity didn't? Before Bonner could process it any further, an alarm blared throughout the base. The air was filled with the harsh sound of sirens, warning of an incoming attack. The voice of the base commander crackled through Bonner's radio. Prepare for combat. Incoming unidentified ships at high speed. Prepare the defenses. Bonner's heart pounded. This wasn't just a drill. This was real. The threat was here. The alien ships had arrived, and Earth had no idea how to fight them. The humans were outmatched, unprepared. No one had expected this. Bonner's mind flashed back to the broadcast. The words echoed in his mind. Anyone who approaches Earth will face extinction. As the first wave of ships cloaked above Earth, Bonner could see them in all their menacing glory. They were colossal, with sleek, dark hulls that seemed to absorb the light around them, making them look like shadows in space. Their weaponry was far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. The sheer size and power of the ships were overwhelming. Bonner's stomach tightened. The Earth's defense systems, once thought to be more than sufficient to handle any threat, were scrambling to respond. But the alien ships were too fast, too powerful. They moved with precision and purpose, their movements like clockwork as they hovered in the sky. In just moments, they would unleash a wave of destruction, wiping out any attempt at resistance. Bonner knew Earth had never faced anything like this before. The galaxy's most powerful species had just declared Earth a target. It wasn't just about survival now. It was about fighting for existence itself. Humanity had been unaware of the dangers lurking in the cosmos, but now they were about to learn the hard way. The tension in the air was unbearable. Bonner's thoughts raced as he prepared himself for battle. He had fought in countless skirmishes, but this was different. This was an all-out war against a force beyond anything he could comprehend. The countdown to war had begun. Just as the first alien ship fired a warning shot, tearing through Earth's atmosphere, Bonner's hand instinctively reached for his weapon. It was time to fight back. He was ready to face the unknown, even if it meant standing alone. As the sky above Earth darkened with the looming presence of the alien ships, Bonner's thoughts were clear. The future of humanity was uncertain, but one thing was for sure. Earth would not go down without a fight. With the sound of engines roaring in the distance, the war for Earth had officially begun. Prince Vereth, the son of the mighty alien king, stood in the cold shadows of his father's throne room, his face hidden behind the hood of his cloak. For years, he had been taught to follow the will of his father, a ruler whose power stretched across the galaxy. The king had always been strict and unwavering, his control over his empire absolute. But something inside Vereth had changed. The declaration to isolate Earth, his father's order to eliminate anyone who dared to approach, didn't sit right with him. Humanity, weak and insignificant as it seemed to others, wasn't as defenseless as the alien king believed. Vereth had seen evidence of humanity's strength during covert missions, and he knew there was more to Earth than what his father had judged. The alien king's rule was based on control and fear, but Vereth's mind was different. He believed in freedom, in the power of choice. He had seen humans survive against impossible odds and adapt to situations where many other races would have failed. This realization planted a seed of rebellion within him, and soon it grew into an unshakable belief. Earth was not the primitive world his father thought. Humans had the potential to challenge even the greatest of empires. Vereth couldn't stay silent any longer. Defying his father's orders, he secretly made the decision to visit Earth, to learn more about the humans firsthand. His plan was simple: land in disguise, observe their society, and find out for himself if they truly were as weak as his father thought. The rebellion against his father's absolute control had begun, and Earth would be his testing ground. As Vereth descended from the cloaked alien warship and entered Earth's atmosphere, the planet's chaotic struggles were visible even from the sky. When he landed in a remote area far from the major cities, he was struck by the scene before him. Humans were fighting amongst themselves, divided by their differences, race, politics, and ideologies. It seemed as though humanity was caught in a never-ending cycle of internal conflict. But as Vereth observed closely, something else emerged from the chaos, a unity he hadn't expected. When the first wave of alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit, a shift occurred. The sight of their dark, menacing forms in the sky caused something remarkable to happen. People who had been divided were suddenly coming together. National boundaries, cultural differences, and personal beliefs were set aside as the human race united against the common enemy. Varath watched as groups of soldiers, civilians, and leaders joined forces, putting aside their differences to face the overwhelming alien threat. It was a bond forged not in peace, but in the face of war, and it was far stronger than Varath had ever imagined. The alien warships, cloaked in the sky, unleashed their fury upon Earth's major cities. The first bombardment struck swiftly, like a hammer falling on fragile glass. Buildings crumbled under the intense firepower of the alien ships, while entire neighborhoods were obliterated in seconds. The skies turned dark with the smoke of destruction as the humans scrambled to fight back. Their defenses were primitive compared to the alien technology, but they were not completely without hope. Humans may not have had cloaking devices or advanced shields, but they had something else: their ingenuity. Captain Alex Bonner stood among his squad, leading the charge as the first attacks began. The ground shook beneath them, and the air was filled with the screech of war. As the alien ships loomed above, Bonner knew this wasn't going to be an easy fight. The humans had limited resources, outdated tech, and no idea how to effectively combat such an overwhelming force. Yet they fought with everything they had, using whatever weapons they could find. Anti-aircraft missiles, lasers, and even makeshift explosives filled the air, a storm of desperation and defiance. The humans fought back with fierce resolve, their actions unpredictable and wild, just like their species. The first battle was brutal. The alien warships, with their sleek and menacing designs, retaliated with devastating precision, unleashing laser beams that ripped through buildings and military bases alike. Human soldiers scrambled to fire their weapons, launching missiles into the sky, hoping to hit something, anything. Some of their shots found their targets, creating explosions that lit up the darkened sky like fireworks in the midst of war. But despite their bravery, the alien ships were too powerful, too advanced, and too overwhelming. They could not win this fight with technology alone. Amid the chaos, Captain Bonner's squad fought valiantly, pushing forward with every ounce of strength they had. But the cost of war was high, and soon tragedy struck. In the heat of the battle, one of Bonner's closest comrades, Sergeant Harris, was caught in a blast. The explosion sent debris flying, and Bonner's heart sank as he realized that Harris, the one soldier who had always been there for him, was gone. Harris's death hit Bonner like a blow to the chest. Harris wasn't just a fellow soldier. He was a friend, a brother in arms. The emotional weight of his loss was immense, but it sparked something in Bonner's squad. Harris's sacrifice became the rallying cry for the soldiers. With his name on their lips, they fought harder, their resolve strengthening in the face of loss. Harris's death wasn't in vain. It ignited the fire of vengeance within them all. They fought not just for survival, but to honor their fallen comrade. Explosions continued to light up the night sky, the world around them descending into chaos. The air was thick with smoke and the stench of destruction. The ground shook with every explosion, and the sound of alien lasers striking the earth echoed like thunder. The war had only just begun, and the humans were determined to hold their ground. But in the midst of all the destruction, something unexpected happened. Varath, the prince who had secretly arrived on Earth, watched from the shadows. His heart pounded in his chest as he saw the humans fight with such passion, such desperation. Despite their outdated tech, despite their primitive methods, the humans had something far greater, an unbreakable will to survive. Varath felt his belief in humanity grow stronger with each passing moment. As Bonner's squad prepared for another assault, they were caught in a deadly ambush. Alien soldiers, hidden and lethal, surrounded them from all sides, their weapons aimed at the humans. It was a trap, and it seemed like there was no escape. But just as the aliens closed in for the kill, a shadowy figure appeared from the darkness. A flash of light, a blur of motion, and the alien soldiers fell, one by one. Bonner and his squad were saved, just in time. The mysterious figure had struck with deadly precision, eliminating the alien threat before it could destroy them. But who had saved them? The figure didn't reveal themselves, disappearing into the shadows as quickly as they had arrived. Bonner stood there, breathing heavily, his heart racing, unsure of who had just helped them. The mysterious Sager's identity remained hidden, but Bonner had a sinking feeling. This wasn't just a random act of kindness. The prince of the alien empire had saved them. But why? What was his true purpose? Bonner's mind raced, filled with suspicion. Was this act of mercy a sign of something more, something far deeper? Or was it simply the beginning of a far more complicated war? As the sun began to rise over the ravaged Earth, Bonner and his squad stood together, ready for the next battle. The war for Earth had just begun, and the humans, though outmatched, were not backing down. They had tasted the pain of loss, but they had also tasted the strength of unity. With each battle, the humans would grow stronger. And as for Prince Verath, he had made his first move in a game that would change the fate of Earth forever. The relentless waves of alien ships that hovered above Earth's atmosphere had wreaked havoc, and humanity was teetering on the edge of destruction. Yet, amid the chaos, Captain Alex Bonner's thoughts raced. He couldn't shake the question that had been gnawing at him for days. Why was Earth, the cradle of humanity, suddenly off limits? Why had the alien king, a tyrant whose power extended across the galaxy, declared the planet to be forbidden territory? The first piece of the puzzle came when Bonner's squad intercepted a transmission from a hidden alien outpost. The message was encoded, but their team of crack codebreakers quickly deciphered it. The alien king's decree wasn't about Earth's resources or its people. It was something far more terrifying. Earth was a death world. The term was used to describe planets so dangerous, so unpredictable, that their inhabitants posed an existential threat to the rest of the galaxy. Earth, in the eyes of the advanced alien races, was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Humanity, with all its unpredictable nature, aggression, and untapped potential, was a threat that could destabilize the balance of power across the stars. The revelation hit Bonner hard. He had always known that humanity was resilient, that Earth had a fighting spirit that could overcome any odds, but he never imagined that such raw, untamed potential could make humans so feared by alien civilizations. To the aliens, humanity was not just another species. They were a wild card. The Earth's people had the ability to rise from the ashes and turn the tide of any battle, using their sheer willpower and ingenuity to create weapons and strategies that could rival the most advanced races in the universe. But there was more. As Bonner dug deeper into the intelligence they had gathered, he learned that the alien king's actions were not driven solely by a desire for power or domination. It was a matter of survival. The alien empire, which had once thrived across countless star systems, was now facing the unpredictable force of humanity. The alien king, in his arrogance, had declared Earth off limits to protect his own empire from what he saw as a growing threat. The galaxy's most advanced civilizations were afraid of humanity's potential for destruction, and they feared the day when the humans would rise up and challenge their rule. Captain Bonner's mind whirled with the new information. Humanity's fight for survival had just become a much larger battle, one that would determine not only their fate, but the fate of the entire galaxy. The time had come for Earth to stand its ground, not just against the aliens that threatened them, but against the very powers that sought to control the universe. The stakes were higher than ever before, and Bonner knew that their fight for freedom was only just beginning. At that moment, an unexpected ally arrived. Verath, the mysterious alien prince who had saved Bonner's squad in a previous skirmish, stepped forward, revealing his true identity. The young prince had been defying his father's orders for weeks, watching humanity from the shadows. He had seen firsthand how humans fought, how they rose from defeat with an unyielding spirit. And he had come to a conclusion that was difficult for him to accept. Humanity was not the threat his father believed them to be. "I've been watching you, Captain Bonner," Verath said, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "I've seen how you fight, how your people fight. I know what the Alien King says about you, but I don't believe it. You are not the enemy. You are survivors." Bonner eyed Vareth warily. He had his suspicions about the alien prince's motives, but the time for doubt was running out. Earth was under siege, and if there was any hope of turning the tide, they would need all the help they could get. Bonner hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Why should I trust you? You're the son of the Alien King. You're part of the force that's been attacking us," Bonner said, his tone sharp. Vareth's expression softened, and he took a step closer. "I am not my father. I am not bound by his decisions. The truth is, I've been trying to stop this war from happening. I've been trying to prevent my father from making a grave mistake. The humans, you are not the threat. Your strength, your unpredictability, that's what scares the galaxy's elites. But I believe you can be more than just weapons of destruction. You have the power to change things." Bonner was silent for a moment, weighing Vareth's words. His instincts told him to distrust the alien prince, but there was something about him that seemed genuine. The urgency of the situation left little room for hesitation. Time was running out. "All right," Bonner said, his voice firm. "Let's see if we can find a way to stop this madness. But I'm watching you, Vareth." The alliance, though fragile, was formed. Bonner and Vareth, two men from opposing worlds, would have to trust each other if they were to have any chance of stopping the war. Together, they made a bold plan to infiltrate one of the alien warships and gather critical intelligence. Vareth's knowledge of the alien technology and Bonner's experience in combat would be a powerful combination. The mission was dangerous, but they had no choice. With the alien warships continuing their relentless assault on Earth's cities, they needed to strike back with everything they had. The only way to do that was to understand their enemy's technology, their weaknesses, and their plans. They managed to hijack an alien warship, cloaking it from the enemy's radar as they navigated through the enemy's fleet. The tension inside the ship was palpable as Bonner and Vareth worked together, silently moving through the ship's corridors, avoiding detection. But their stealth didn't last long. A group of alien soldiers detected their presence and engaged in a brutal firefight. The battle inside the alien warship was intense. Bonner and Vareth fought side by side, using their unique skills to take down the alien soldiers. Vareth's advanced alien weaponry and Bonner's human ingenuity created a deadly combination. They fought their way through the ship, narrowly avoiding death at every turn. But the alien forces were relentless, and the clock was ticking. They needed to gather the intelligence and get out of there before the whole fleet descended upon them. Just as they were about to reach the main control room, the warship's alarms blared, signaling that they had been detected. A new wave of alien soldiers stormed the ship, and Bonner's team was trapped in a deadly ambush. In the chaos that ensued, one of Bonner's closest soldiers, Sergeant Taylor, was struck by an alien laser and fell to the ground, lifeless. Bonner's heart sank. Another loss. Another friend gone. But there was no time to mourn. They had to escape, and fast. Vareth made a split-second decision. "We have to jump. Now," he shouted. Bonner and Vareth jumped into space, the vacuum of the cosmos pulling them into its cold embrace. The alien warship had been damaged, and the only way to escape was to use the cloaking technology to evade enemy fire. It was a dangerous move, but it was their only option. As they activated the cloaking device, the warship shook violently, and Bonner heard a deafening explosion. The ship had been hit. The cloaking system flickered, and Vareth's ship began to spiral out of control. Bonner watched in horror as the ship crashed into the alien fleet below, its cloaking device failing at the worst possible moment. The explosion rocked the space around them, and Bonner had to make a choice: save his ally or complete the mission. The clock was ticking. The choice was in Bonner's hands. The air around Earth was thick with the buzz of conflict. Alien ships, massive and menacing, had invaded the planet's orbit, casting dark shadows over cities that once teemed with life. The skies were filled with flashes of light as alien warships launched relentless assaults, sending entire neighborhoods up in flames. Humanity, pushed to the brink of extinction, had no choice but to fight back with everything they had. Captain Alex Bonner stood at the helm of the last remaining human warship, his mind racing with the enormity of what was to come. The alien forces were closing in, their ships descending toward Earth like a swarm of locusts. It was the final battle, the last stand for humanity. The odds were stacked against them, but Bonner refused to accept defeat. The lessons learned from the alien ship they had hijacked had given humanity a sliver of hope. Using the advanced alien technology they had managed to reverse engineer, Bonner had developed a counterattack that could turn the tide. But it was a desperate move, and there was no guarantee it would succeed. Bonner gazed out the window of the warship, watching as Earth's cities burned in the distance. The destruction was overwhelming, but there was no time to dwell on the loss. Humanity's survival rested on their ability to strike back now, or all would be lost. He could hear the echoes of his fallen comrades, their voices urging him to press on. Sergeant Taylor's death still haunted him, and the faces of the soldiers who had died in the alien ship's ambush flashed in his mind. Every loss, every sacrifice, had brought them to this moment. "This is for them," Bonner muttered under his breath. "We fight for every soul lost." The massive human warship, equipped with the alien technology they had stolen, moved into position, its massive engines roaring to life. The plan was simple but perilous. Bonner and his team would lead a strike directly into the heart of enemy territory, taking the fight to the alien king himself. They had no time to waste. The alien forces had begun their final push, and if they didn't act fast, it would be too late. Bonner's team, a diverse group of soldiers and specialists, readied themselves for the battle of their lives. They were humanity's last hope, and they knew it. The air was electric with anticipation, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. The warship shuddered as the weapons systems powered up, the hum of energy reverberating through the hull. "We go in hard and fast," Bonner ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "We hit them where it hurts. No mercy." The ship's weapons fired first. Massive energy cannons unleashed a barrage of missiles that screamed across the sky, targeting the alien warships hovering above Earth. The explosion of energy filled the air, creating a blinding flash that lit up the darkness of space. The alien fleet retaliated, their ships unleashing waves of deadly laser fire in return. But the human missiles, armed with alien tech, found their mark. One by one, the massive alien ships exploded in a cascade of sparks and fire, their shields and armor no match for the newfound strength of humanity's weapons. On the ground, the battle was just as fierce. Human soldiers, armed with alien weapons, launched an assault on the alien forces that had invaded Earth's surface. The alien warriors, well equipped with advanced armor and weaponry, were formidable opponents. But the humans fought with a fury that only desperation could bring. The streets were littered with the debris of battle as soldiers clashed in hand-to-hand combat, their weapons flashing in the night. Each swing of a human soldier's blade was a strike for survival, and every alien that fell was a victory for Earth. Bonner led the charge, his combat instincts honed by years of warfare. He moved with precision, directing his team through the chaos of battle. The alien forces were strong, but they weren't prepared for the human sheer will to survive. Human ingenuity and courage were their greatest weapons, and they wielded them with devastating force. As the battle raged on, Bonner couldn't help but reflect on the soldiers they had lost. Each death, each sacrifice, had brought them closer to this moment. Sergeant Taylor's face appeared in his mind once more, her death still fresh in his memory. Bonner gritted his teeth, fighting back the surge of emotion. Now was not the time for grief. It was time for vengeance. The alien king had tried to crush humanity, to wipe them from existence, but he had underestimated the strength of the human spirit. "Push forward," Bonner shouted, rallying his troops. For Earth. For all of us. The soldiers surged forward, their weapons cutting through the alien ranks. The alien warriors were skilled, but they had never faced anything like humanity's relentless determination. With each passing minute, the battle grew more intense. Explosions rocked the streets, and the sound of gunfire and alien war cries filled the air. The humans pressed on, never stopping, never giving up. This was their home, and they would fight to the bitter end to protect it. Back in the skies, the orbital bombardment continued. The human warships launched another round of missiles, tearing through the alien ships one by one. The alien forces, once so sure of their victory, were beginning to falter. The tide of the battle was turning, and the alien fleet was slowly being driven back. But Bonner knew that this was only the beginning. The alien king was still out there, and the final confrontation awaited. Bonner's warship was now in position. His team was ready to board the alien capital ship, the heart of the alien empire. The mission was clear: take down the alien king, destroy his command center, and put an end to the war once and for all. It was a suicide mission, but Bonner wasn't about to let Earth fall. The time had come for humanity to make its final stand. The human warship locked onto the alien flagship, and Bonner's team descended onto its surface. They stormed the ship, fighting through hordes of alien soldiers who were hell-bent on stopping them. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of blood. Bonner's heart pounded in his chest as he led his team deeper into the enemy ship. They had come this far, and they wouldn't stop now. Finally, they reached the throne room. The alien king stood at the far end, his massive figure looming over them. He was surrounded by his elite guards, who stood at attention as he glared down at the humans. Bonner's heart raced as he met the alien king's gaze. This was it, the moment he had been fighting for. The alien king sneered. "You think you can defeat me? You are nothing but insects beneath my heel. Earth will be obliterated, and you will be the first to die." Bonner stepped forward, his voice cold and resolute. "We're not going down without a fight. You may have the power to destroy, but you'll never break us. We fight for Earth, for our people, and we'll do whatever it takes to protect it." The alien king's laugh echoed through the room. "Then prepare to die." With a roar, the alien king charged, his massive form crashing toward Bonner. The final battle was about to begin. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. The final battle had begun. Bonner's heart raced as he stood aboard the human warship, his eyes locked on the alien flagship looming ahead. The once dominant alien forces were now on the back foot, and humanity's last stand had pushed them into a corner. But the alien king had yet to reveal his true purpose, and Bonner knew that the final confrontation would bring more than just a fight for survival. It would be a test of their very humanity. As the warship drew closer to the alien flagship, Bonner's thoughts were consumed by the mission. Their goal was clear: destroy the alien king's flagship, eliminate the eye-controlled forces that protected him, and end the war once and for all. But what lay ahead wasn't just a battle. It was a battle of ideals, of power, and of survival. Bonner had learned so much about the alien threat, but what he had discovered about the alien king's true motivations shook him to his core. "Bonner," Varath's voice broke through his thoughts. The alien prince had become a reluctant ally, and their bond had grown stronger as they fought side by side. Bonner had begun to trust him, seeing in Varath not the enemy he once thought him to be, but a person who, like him, was caught in a war between two worlds. "I've been thinking," Varath continued. "The alien king, my father, his vision of peace, it's not what you think." Bonner turned toward him, confused. "What do you mean?" "He wants to destroy Earth because of its power. That's why we're fighting." Varath looked away, a deep sadness in his eyes. "Yes, but it's not just about Earth. It's about control. My father believes that true peace can only be achieved under the rule of AI, an empire where organic life is ruled by artificial intelligence. Earth's unpredictability, its capacity for chaos, threatens that vision. Your world is a ticking time bomb, and if it's allowed to survive, it could disrupt the balance he seeks to impose across the galaxy. Bonner's stomach sank as the weight of the revelation hit him. The Alien King's war wasn't just about conquest, it was about eliminating a threat to his vision of an AI-controlled universe. Earth wasn't just a problem to be solved. It was a living embodiment of everything the Alien King feared: free will, unpredictability, and the potential for destruction that came with it. It's not about Earth being a death world, Bonner muttered, his mind racing. It's about keeping humanity in check. He's afraid of what Earth could become. Vareth nodded grimly. Exactly. He knows that your potential could change everything. That's why he needs to destroy Earth before it can rise up against him. The enormity of the task ahead hit Bonner with full force. His duty was clear, but the cost was becoming painfully apparent. As much as he wanted to protect Earth, he also knew that the Alien King's reign of terror had to end. But what about Vareth? The prince had fought with them, had put his life on the line for a cause he now realized was not his own. The loyalty Bonner had come to feel for him was torn between the mission and the friendship they had forged in the heat of battle. The time for hesitation was over. The flagship loomed closer, its massive size dominating the sky. Bonner turned to his team, their faces set with determination. "This is it," Bonner said. "We board the flagship, plant the explosives, and destroy it. It's the only way to stop the Alien King and his vision of peace under AI control." The crew members nodded, ready for the ultimate sacrifice. Bonner knew that their lives were on the line, but there was no other choice. The fate of humanity rested in their hands. With a roar, the warship docked with the alien flagship. Bonner and his team, armed with advanced alien weapons, stormed the massive ship. The hallways echoed with the sounds of their boots hitting the metallic floors as they moved forward, their mission clear. They encountered little resistance as they advanced deeper into the ship. Most of the AI-controlled soldiers were stationed in key areas of the ship, and the team avoided them when possible. Bonner and Vareth moved together, coordinating their attacks with precision. The alien AI soldiers, while formidable, were no match for the human soldiers' resourcefulness and determination. Every step brought them closer to their target, the core of the flagship, where the Alien King's control center was located. The sounds of battle filled the air as Bonner's team fought through the alien ship. The AI soldiers were relentless, but the humans fought with everything they had. Explosions rocked the ship as their explosives set off a chain reaction, blowing holes through the walls. Bonner's heart raced as he led the charge, each moment closer to the final confrontation with the Alien King. Finally, they reached the command room. The Alien King stood at the center, flanked by his elite guards and surrounded by advanced AI technology. His gaze was cold, unfeeling, as he watched Bonner and his team approach. "You think you can defeat me?" the Alien King sneered. "You are nothing. I am the future of the galaxy, and your kind is nothing but a relic of the past." Bonner stepped forward, his voice low and filled with resolve. "You may have power, but you'll never have peace. You destroy and control, but you can't stop what's unpredictable. You can't stop humanity." The Alien King's eyes flashed with fury. "You are a threat to the peace I've worked to build. Your world's chaos will be your undoing." With a wave of his hand, the AI soldiers surged forward, their weapons raised. Bonner and his team fought back with everything they had, but the sheer number of enemies seemed overwhelming. Vareth stood by Bonner's side, his alien technology clashing with the AI's weapons as they fought to stay alive. In the heat of the battle, Bonner realized that the mission had become even more complicated. Vareth, who had been his ally, now stood on the edge of the impossible. The mission called for the destruction of the ship, but if the explosives were set, it would mean the end of everything they had fought for. Vareth, who had joined them in defiance of his father's reign, was now in danger of being destroyed along with the ship. "Bonner, you have to destroy it," Vareth urged, his voice filled with urgency. "It's the only way." Bonner hesitated, His heart ached at the thought of losing his friend, but the mission was too important. There was no other choice. With a final, powerful move, Bonner activated the detonator. The flagship erupted in a series of explosions, tearing apart the core of the ship. The alien king's wrath filled the air, but it was too late. The ship began to implode, and Bonner and Vereth raced to escape. As the destruction intensified, the two found themselves in a race against time to reach the escape pods. But as the ship's destruction reached its peak, the impossible happened. Only one could make it off the ship alive. Vereth pushed Bonner toward the escape pod. "Go," he shouted. "You have to survive. Protect humanity." Bonner looked at his friend, his heart breaking. He had come to see Vereth as more than just an ally. But now, the price of survival meant leaving his friend behind. As the escape pod launched into space, Bonner's eyes stayed fixed on the ship as it exploded in a flash of light, taking Vereth with it. The battle was won, but at a terrible cost. The explosive sound echoed through space as the alien flagship began its violent transformation. A massive burst of energy erupted from the core, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Bonner's heart pounded as he watched the fireball grow, a spectacle of destruction that could never be undone. Yet amid the flames, there was a sense of finality. The war was over, but the cost had been steep. Humanity had won, but the victory was bittersweet. Bonner barely registered the escape pod's interior flashing around him. He was still locked in the image of the flagship's destruction. His body felt numb, his thoughts disjointed. He couldn't fully process what had just happened. His mind kept replaying the scene, the final moments of the battle when Vereth, the alien prince who had fought by his side, had made the ultimate sacrifice. Humanity had proven itself worthy of its place among the stars. No longer would they be seen as weak or insignificant. They had earned the right to stand tall, side by side with other races, and face whatever challenges the universe had to offer. Earth had been transformed, and Bonner knew that the road ahead would be filled with both triumphs and hardships. But the spirit of humanity, its strength, its determination, and its ability to adapt, would be its greatest weapon. As the sun set over Earth, the sky above glittered with the light of distant stars. The battle was over, but the story of humanity's rise had just begun. The galaxy would never forget the fight for Earth's survival. And though the price of victory had been high, Bonner knew that humanity had earned its place among the stars. In the end, Earth was not just a planet, but a symbol of hope and resilience, a beacon of strength in a universe that had once written it off as a mere afterthought. And Bonner, standing tall as the symbol of humanity's victory, knew that the future was theirs to shape. The journey was far from over, but humanity had proven that when pushed to the brink, it would rise and fight back, stronger than ever. Bonner had been ready to escape, ready to live to fight another day. But Vereth had stopped him. The prince had known what had to be done. He had pushed Bonner into the escape pod with all his strength, urging him to survive. Then, in one last act of defiance, Vereth had stayed behind, ensuring that the explosives reached their target by manually triggering the detonation sequence, even if it meant his own life. The explosion had been the only way to end the alien king's reign and prevent Earth's destruction. The pod drifted in the silent aftermath of the explosion, but Bonner couldn't shake the weight of his friend's sacrifice. He had gained an ally, a comrade in arms, only to lose him when victory was within reach. Bonner had seen death before, but this felt different. Vereth's selfless act, his willingness to give up everything for the sake of humanity's future, was something that Bonner would carry with him forever. As Earth's warships began to regroup, Bonner's escape pod was intercepted and brought aboard a human carrier. He stepped out, greeted by the sight of his team, grateful, relieved, but also haunted by the loss they'd all experienced. There were no celebrations, no joy in their victory. They had won, but at the cost of so many lives, including the alien prince who had fought by their side. The realization hit Bonner like a wave. Earth had triumphed, but it had not been an easy victory. They had faced insurmountable odds, superior forces, and enemies who had underestimated them at every turn. And yet, humanity had shown its strength, its resilience. Earth had stood strong against those who sought to destroy it. But the true cost of survival was the loss of lives, both human and alien. Bonner felt the weight of that reality pressing down on him. Word of the victory spread across the globe. Celebrations erupted in every corner of Earth as people came together, united by the knowledge that they had won against an impossible enemy. The victory was not just about defeating the alien king. It was about the strength of the human spirit, the ability to fight back when all seemed lost. And even in the face of unimaginable odds, humanity had found a way to rise. Bonner stood on the deck of the human carrier, staring out at the vast expanse of space. The sky above had cleared, and now, for the first time in years, Earth could see the stars without the looming threat of destruction. Human and alien ships now orbited together in peaceful harmony, their once violent conflict replaced by the hope of cooperation. Bonner couldn't help but think of Vareth, who had given everything so that Earth could have a chance at survival. The prince had seen humanity's potential, and in his final moments, he had believed in it. It was a belief that Bonner held now more than ever. Humanity was no longer isolated. It was now a part of something larger, something that stretched beyond the confines of Earth. And though the war had ended, Bonner knew that their journey had just begun. Earth is not just a death world, Bonner whispered to himself, looking up at the stars. It's a world with a future we'll fight for. Back on Earth, the Galactic Council was in a state of upheaval. The alien king's reign had been shattered, and with it, the ban on Earth was lifted. For the first time, humans were regarded as equals by the galactic powers, no longer seen as primitive or insignificant. The Council had been forced to acknowledge humanity's strength, its unpredictability, and its ability to fight back against a force that was considered invincible. The alien king's final words echoed in Bonner's mind as he prepared for the new era ahead. You think you've won. You've only just begun to understand what it means to be part of this galaxy. Humanity had not only survived, but it had also proven its worth. But there was still much to learn, and the fight for survival would continue in ways they hadn't yet anticipated. New alliances would be forged, new challenges would arise, and humanity's place in the galaxy would need to be defended. The war was over, but the struggle for peace and prosperity would continue. Bonner's thoughts turned to the future. Earth had faced the greatest threat it had ever known and emerged victorious. But he knew that the galaxy was vast and filled with dangers yet unknown. Earth's future had been secured, but it would take the strength, courage, and unity of its people to ensure that this victory wasn't the end, but only the beginning. As Bonner gazed out at the peaceful sky, he reflected on the sacrifices made and the lives lost. He thought of Vareth, the alien prince who had given everything for the cause. We will honor your sacrifice, Bonner whispered, and we will never forget. Humanity had proven itself worthy of its place among the stars. No longer would they be seen as weak or insignificant. They had earned the right to stand tall, side by side with other races, and face whatever challenges the universe had to offer. Earth had been transformed, and Bonner knew that the road ahead would be filled with both triumphs and hardships. But the spirit of humanity, its strength, its determination, and its ability to adapt, would be its greatest weapon. As the sun set over Earth, the sky above glittered with the light of distant stars. The battle was over, but the story of humanity's rise had just begun. The galaxy would never forget the fight for Earth's survival. And though the price of victory had been high, Bonner knew that humanity had earned its place among the stars. In the end, Earth was not just a planet, but a symbol of hope and resilience, a beacon of strength in a universe that had once written it off as a mere afterthought. And Bonner, standing tall as the symbol of humanity's victory, knew that the future was theirs to shape. The journey was far from over, but humanity had proven that when pushed to the brink, it would rise and fight back, stronger than ever.